Lawmakers are now bracing for contentious budget battles when they return from spring recess next month after the Senate virtually pulled an all-nighter and passed its first spending plan in 4 years. Not one Republican voted for it, though, and 4 Democrats voted against. I'm joined by Shira Toeplitz, acting politics editor with Roll Call. Good to see you, Shira. Good morning.
Good morning to you, too.
No doubt some stark contrast between the budgets passed in the House and Senate. Let's just show a few examples. The House holds the line on taxes. The Senate version raises nearly $1 trillion in revenues over 10 years. The House increases military spending. The Senate slashes it. The House plan overhauls Medicare. The Senate version makes no fundamental changes. So with baselines like that, where do we go from here?
Well, I think we go forward, hopefully, and there's sort of an opening salvo to further discussions about the budget. I think if we do get any kind of grand budget bargain in the next year, it will look nothing like these 2 proposals that have passed the House and the Senate. Next, we're going to see what the president proposes next week in his own budget. And in particular, our reporters are looking very closely to see how closely his proposal will mirror the one that the Senate just passed. And that will really give us a sign of where negotiations are headed.
Is there a good, clear area where it looks like they could come together? I want to just play for you really quickly, speaking of a little bit of optimism, because you sound at least a tiny bit optimistic. Here's what Karl Rove, of all people, had to say about this.
I frankly take this as a constructive sign. With House passing a budget with less spending, Senate Democrats passing a budget with more spending, and going to conference and working out the difficulties. It requires hard work. It requires work by the committees. But that's the way that things actually give and take.
Where are there areas where it looks like both sides might be able to forge some compromise?
Well, there aren't a lot of areas on paper right now that either side has said this is an area where we're willing to compromise. I'll be looking for in the president's budget if he proposes any kind of changes to Medicare. That's something House Republicans are definitely advocating for. They want to make huge cuts to Medicare, and that could be a way of kind of bridging the divide and kind of almost going around the Senate and finding a way to make deep cuts.
And we have some time, right? The next key moment is really in the spring when we're talking about the debt limit.
Absolutely. That is the next big fight facing Capitol Hill, where the country is reaching its debt limit once again. But this is a little different than the debt limit crises that we saw in 2013. House Republicans in the past have really dug in and tried to get something out of the president. Well, House Republicans know that voters are really sick of crisis politics in Congress, and I don't think they're going to do that this time necessarily. They're going to want something in exchange from the president for voting to raise the debt ceiling, but it won't be a big midnight battle like these last couple ones.
To be continued. Shira Toeplitz, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Today's tweet of the day comes from Pentagon Press Secretary George Little. Today is National Medal of Honor Day. Take a moment to retweet a salute to Medal of Honor recipients throughout American history.